let's look at how you create and manage tests in UTIPS. Now, when you create a test, if you want a test created in a specific folder, you're going to want to click on that folder first. So here I'm going to click on my Language Arts folder. I'm going to create a new Language Arts test. From that point, I will go ahead and click on Test and New. And this is the window that comes up. The first thing I want to do is give the test a name. I'm going to call this Nouns and Pronouns, even though I really have no idea what may end up in this test right now. Okay. I have three options for the type of test. I have a survey. So if I want to actually create a survey, I can do so. In the survey type, questions, there's no marked right answer, so it'll just give you a percentage of the answers that you get. An open book test will allow a student to answer until they get the question correct. A closed book test will allow the students one shot at the answer, and then right or wrong, they will have to move to the next question. On this next line, we can choose to randomize questions and randomize answers, and or. By doing both, it really eliminates the likelihood that two students sitting next to each other will have the same question come up with the same answers in the same order. So it can help prevent looking at others' work, shall we say. Again, you turn both those on, it will randomize both. If you teach primary grades and you're trying to work students all through the same test at the same time, you may want to uncheck both of those. For this test, I'm going to turn both of those on. This auto email results is something that does not get used much anymore because of the reporting functionality within UTIPS. One place you might use it if you were to set up a test to give maybe a makeup test or an at-home test or something for extra credit, and you want to know when someone's taken it, you could have those results emailed to you. Okay, on the next line, you can set a competency percentage. So let's say we want to change that to 80% rather than 70%. If you want this to be a time test, you can put in the number of minutes, and it has to be whole minutes. So the number of minutes you want to allow students to complete this test. If you put a time limit in, there will be a little timer that will show up in the corner of the test. If you leave it blank, there is no time limit. Next line is about how questions are displayed on the page. User choice means that the user can switch back and forth between single question or all questions. Okay? It gives the user the choice to toggle back and forth. If you choose single question, it displays only one question on a page at a time. When a student answers, then they must forward to the next question. That is also the default under user choice. That's how questions come up normally. If you select all questions, then all the questions in the test will be on one single scrolling page. Okay? The reason why user choice is nice is because the student may have skipped a couple questions. They can flip to all questions and look and see any they may not have answered or any they may have skipped. Okay? If you are going to build the test from the item pool, the test item pool, you want to leave this box selected. Okay. And then if you want a full report from this test for each student, you can leave this checked. All right. So I've got my test set up. I'm going to click Create here, and the next thing I will see is the item pool. This is the first section for the item pool. What I do first generally is I select my grade level. I'm going to be a 5th grade teacher for this test. And then I select my subject. Notice primarily only math and language arts questions are here thus far. So I've selected 5th grade language arts. Question type, you'll see there are different question types. most of the questions in the item pool are forced response questions. Okay, so true, false, or not true, false, excuse me, but multiple choice. Okay. You can choose to build what is called a CRT blueprint. What that does is it automatically creates a test for you that is built in proportion to the way questions are asked from the different standards and objectives on a CRT test. Okay. So if you just want to create a killer test for students, you can choose to create a full CRT blueprint test or a half, and you can see the number of questions which may be involved there. If you're wanting to completely build your own test, and then you come down to this section below. And again, you can build the test at various levels. Let's say you were at the end of the year and you wanted kind of a comprehensive review type test. You could just come to 5th grade language arts here. You'll see there's 395 items available. Let's say I want 20 of those items selected at random. If I click add questions or finish now, it will pull 20 of those 395 questions at random and build the test. I don't have any control at this point over which standards it pulls from or which objectives. Okay? So you probably want to fine-tune your test a little more. If you set something in here, you are locked out of being able to build at the standard and or objective level. So I'm going to reset this. This is the reset button right here. Now let's say I just got through teaching here in Standard 1. And by the way, if I'm not sure what Standard 1 is, I can click on the standard, and over here on the right it will show me the standard. Same thing with an objective. Okay? I'm actually going to come here maybe to Standard 4, phonics and spelling, Standard 6, fluency. I'm going to come back to phonics and spelling here. Again, if I want to build it just at the standard level, I could say, all right, I want 10 of these 22 questions. Okay? Now, there are only questions in Objective 3 here in this. And so obviously it's going to pull the questions from that objective. If I were to change, oops, let me reset this again. Okay. Let's say I use Standard 7 instead, since it has items in each objective. Okay. If I choose then out of 181 items here to create a test of 10 questions, it can pull from Objective 1, 2, or 3. If I want to be more specific, and one problem with this is that it could pull all 10 questions at random out of Objective 3. Not likely, but it could happen. So again, I'm going to reset this because I want to build on the objective level. Right? I'm going to do a 10-question test, so I want 3 questions out of Objective 1, 3 questions out of Objective 2, and 4 questions out of Objective 3. Again, wherever I'm building, it locks me out of these other levels, so I cannot go back and say, oh, then I just want 10 more overall out of the standard. Now I'd have to rebuild within the objective. When I've set the questions, or from where I want the questions to come from, I can click on Add Questions or Finish. If I add questions, it will bring me back to be able to add more questions if I want. In this case, I'm just going to click Finish, and it's going to create my test. And so there are my tests. So that's the way to create a test from the test item pool.